This Arc 3.0 Hunter build will have you ready for any endgame content in Destiny 2. The best part about it, it doesn't require any of those impossible to get mods from Ada 1 or Banshee. Anyone can put this build together today, and I'm gonna show you how. When Arc 3.0 dropped, Hunters got access to the new Gathering Storm Super, where they throw their Arc Staff at a target or into the ground, dealing huge impact damage and leaving a lingering AoE for a short duration. This was a very welcome change for Hunters as they desperately needed a new Arc Super to make them relevant in PvE. When we pair this super with the Star Eater Scales exotic legs and the Thunderous Retort seasonal mod, we have the second highest damage super in the game, and it's only beat out by Blade Barrage with Star Eater Scales. The difference is that Gathering Storm is way easier to use and land. It's a single projectile instead of the dozens of knives that tend to miss from Blade Barrage. With this info in mind, I wanted to put together a quick and easy build that will allow you to always have that massive super damage on tap, while still having the freedom to change loadouts when needed for things like GMs or dungeons. So if you guys find this video helpful, a like and subscription is greatly appreciated, and it seriously helps me out. Thank you for the recent support on the channel. Now let's get into the build. Taking a look at Star Eater Scales, it's important to note that it has been changed again this season. This exotic allows you to collect orbs of power once your super is full, for a stacking damage increase to your super. It was changed and nerfed slightly after it launched, and used to require you to collect 8 orbs of power to get max damage. As of Season of Plunder, this has been changed to only require 4 orbs, and this makes the exotic much easier to use as it's more forgiving if you accidentally die, and gives us a lot more opportunities to take advantage of that boosted super. The key to this build will be to generate as many orbs of power as possible, and luckily Arc 3.0 makes it incredibly easy. Looking at the subclass, the first piece here is the Fragment Spark of Amplitude. This makes it so multi-kills while we are amplified will create an orb of power. It has a short internal cooldown, but it's a free source of orbs. There's no element or kill type requirement. We simply generate orbs for free while we are amplified. Of course, we want to make sure that we are amplified as much as possible, so we will also take the aspect Flow State, where defeating jolted targets makes us amplified. Combined with the Lethal Current aspect, this will allow our melee to jolt targets after a dodge for an easy way to get amplified. We can also take Spark of Shock, which allows our grenades to jolt targets as well for another source of amplification. It's important to remember that we can also get amplified by rapidly defeating targets with arc damage of any kind. So when we can, we will want to be using arc weapons as much as possible. I am using Pulse Grenade as I find it the most consistent for getting quick kills, and then I take Spark of Resistance for added damage resist, and Spark of Beacons, which allows my arc special weapons to blind targets while amplified. There's a nice trick with this fragment that ties into one of our weapon choices that we will cover later. But moving on to our mods, the most important mod to take here is Harmonic Siphon. This allows multi-kills with weapons that match our subclass to generate orbs, and this stacks with Spark of Amplitude, meaning that we will create 2 orbs whenever we get an arc multi-kill. There's not a lot of ways to do this in Destiny 2, so it's a pretty powerful combination, especially for Star Eater Scales. You can easily take any of the other orb generating mods as well if you're using a different element weapon. These mods also stack to create a more powerful orb, which can be helpful for getting our super back quicker and back into that Feast of Light state. You could also use a mod like Dynamo, which grants super energy when dodging near enemies, which we will do a lot with this build to activate Lethal Current. The only other necessary mod is the seasonal mod Thunderous Retort. This is found on the final column of the artifact and increases the damage of our super when we are amplified or critically wounded. This adds 30% damage to our Gathering Storm super, and that stacks with Feast of Light from Star Eater Scales. With this build, we are able to generate non-stop orbs of power to take advantage of Star Eaters and our Gathering Storm super as much as possible. This is great for any general content like Catchcraft this season, but it excels in places like the raid or dungeons or anywhere that you can drop a rally flag. When I am running general type content or add heavy encounters in raids or dungeons, there is no better weapon this season than Trinity Ghoul. This bow is the add clear champion and can handle the entire loop of the build all on its own. I highly recommend completing the catalyst as it makes the bow much easier to use. A really unique thing about this bow, and it's most likely a bug, is that the lightning rod perk that causes the chain lightning off of the arrows, that actually activates Spark of Beacons. So when you get those chain lightning kills, it's going to blind nearby targets or anything that it hits. I don't think that's intentional, but for now you can take advantage of it. Getting multi-kills with this weapon will make us amplified, and from there we continue to chain kills and activate Harmonic Siphon and Spark of Amplitude all at the same time. I like to pair this with a 1-2 punch shotgun in my kinetic slot to still take advantage of the powerful melees that this subclass has to offer, and we can use a linear fusion or rocket launcher in our heavy slot. If I am moving into more endgame type content, I will swap Trinity Ghoul for a different arc primary like the Ikelos SMG, and then I will take Arbalest to deal with any shielded foes and also for its great ammo economy. Then we can also keep a linear or rocket in our heavy. You can push the build further by using mods like Elemental Ordnance, Melee Wellmaker, and Font of Might, but they are not needed to make this build work. This is an easy one-stop shop build for all my Arc Hunters out there this season, and while the melee build I posted at launch is a ton of fun, this build is ready to tackle any endgame content in the game right now. I highly recommend giving this a go, and you can use the dim loadout link in the description to get this set up easily. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.